Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, kind of an update video on Morrowind and what's going to happen on my YouTube, etc. So, in the last ESO Live, they announced some really cool changes that are coming to the Morrowind PTS next week. So, just to recap a little bit, a lot of people are pissed because they nerfed Sustain into Oblivion and everybody turned to heavy attack builds. Now, they kinda... So first off, I tried a lot of builds and light attack builds are not that bad, okay? Like, there is only 1-2 setups that highly overperform with heavy attacks, right? But all others, it doesn't matter whether you do a heavy attack build or a light attack build, it's about the same DPS. And I myself also prefer light attack builds because they're faster paced. And heavy attacks are kinda slow. Heavy attack builds. But now what Zenimax is doing, they buff light attack damage. They reduce the charge time of heavy attacks, they reduce the damage of heavy attacks, and they increase the resource return of heavy attacks. Now, we do not know by how much, but I will do a video next week that will cover this kind of topic. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you know when the video pops up. Another thing that they said is they will buff the weaker classes a little bit, so this is really nice. I really hope that not every class will reach the same DPS level, right? But at least if they are like, let's say between 33 and 38k, if they are in between there, then the balance is actually pretty nice. So we will see how that turns out next week. Another thing, they also slightly buffed stamina setups. Deadly Cloak now reduces 25% of damage over time from enemies. And if I understood them correctly, they also classified all the damage from bosses in trials as like damage over time. However, I'm not 100% sure. So this is nice for dual wield setups, obviously, but kind of a kick in the balls for two-hander setups. Simply because two-hander setups are actually not that bad. They're not that much behind dual wield setups and they still seem to get some buffs. But why would I choose a two-hander setup when I can get 25% damage mitigation basically for free on a dual wield setup? So I really hope they look into that and give two-hander something that also mitigates damage somehow. In general, like, stamina builds are actually pretty strong, both dual wield and two-hander. It's just, why would I use a two-hander setup if I can get 25% damage mitigation for free on dual wield? So I really hope they look into that and give two-handers something. Obviously, they have to be careful that it doesn't affect PvP too much. So I really hope they come up with something good and don't just leave it like this. I also want to thank my fellow Patreon members. They have been helping me out tremendously and have been very supportive. So thank you for that. I also will do a 24-hour stream pretty soon. I'm not sure when exactly. Maybe between early access and like the full launch, 6th June, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe after the full launch, depending on what I will do. So you can ask me all kind of questions for Morrowind. Another thing, there has been a lot of questions like what kind of builds, what's going to change and what are you going to do. So like I said, I played a lot of different setups in the trial, like a lot and mostly light attack builds. So what I will do first, there is still changes incoming to the PTS, so for me there is no point creating a video already if they're going to change a lot of things. But I will start doing YouTube videos next week. However, for the updated versions of the builds, I will already have them on my website. I plan to do as many of my builds as possible on my website, and once I have them on my website, I will do a build video as soon as possible. So first, make sure to go check out my website, and then at some point when I have time, I will do a build video. I will always announce it on Facebook and Twitter when I release a build on my website, so make sure to follow me there. The links are down in the description. Or just wait for the YouTube video. It just takes time to create a YouTube video, especially if I have to get new gear. Gear grind is really abysmal. And I also want to introduce a new segment in my build videos about resource management, because there is a huge difference, because sometimes in some groups there is really good support and sometimes the support is not that good. So I want you to understand how you can manage your resources. If you're in a group that doesn't have a lot of support, how can you still be able to sustain stuff like that? I want to explain, and I want you to understand how. I think resource management in general will be a huge topic in Morrowind, and it will take time to get used to it again. I'm always saying we don't necessarily have worse resource management or like worse sustain, because we will build for sustain. But we will have less DPS. That's what you need to understand. Once people know how to sustain, it's not a problem, but you will do less DPS. But in general, champion points changes kind of in favor of a little bit more DPS. But yeah, like I said, survival is more important than full DPS currently. But that's for another video, I guess. That's basically it. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.